Hi, it's Viv going live from York. An hour early, I know, but I've got things happening later, so I thought I'd just hop on an hour early. Um, so I've been watching a few things on Facebook and just stuff I know from the past, and I thought I'd share some of the things that I've been looking at recently, to do with sort of language patterns, words that you use for yourself or with other people. And I just thought I'd sort of do three to five things that I've found is worth reminding myself to give better sort of word patterns, self-talk, but even also talking to other people. So one of the ones I always liked when my kids were little, because you get like a whole thing, hi Hayley, a whole thing with telling kids not to do things. And there's a thought that, hey, if you close your eyes at the moment and don't think of an elephant in a pink tutu, it's very difficult not to think of an elephant in a pink tutu, because what you've put in your mind, even though you've said you don't want to think about that, is the thing, and your mind goes where you direct it. So one thing I did when my kids were little was, instead of stuff like don't climb the tree or whatever, if you're looking after their safety, is to be safe whilst you're doing those things, or have fun whilst you're doing that thing, rather than telling them not to do stuff. So that's one of the ones that I try and think about when I'm talking to myself. Oh, I shouldn't, and it comes up with the shouldn'ts and shoulds and coulds and all that sort of stuff. So you've got to watch out for when you say you should be doing this and you should be doing that, and stuff like that. And again, to just sort of reword stuff so that it comes out as a positive thing rather than a negative thing. But one of the things I've really liked recently, which is another really simple thing, is if you've got anybody who's walking around sort of saying I'm not good enough, or I can't do that, or I don't think I'll ever be good at that, or blah blah blah, which a lot of us have, again, that sort of negative self-talk, is to just put yet on the end of it. So if you find yourself doing that, hi Sarah, if you find yourself doing that, going, oh, I can't run, so that would be one that I quite often say to myself, I can't run, is to just put a yet on the end of it, so your brain knows that you're aware that you maybe can't do that, but actually you're working towards being able to do that. So that's a really good one, especially with kids, if they pick up that sort of pattern of saying, oh, I'm not good at maths, or I can't do that, especially with schoolwork. It's not something I've had to deal with my kids, obviously, because they don't go to school. But you do hear people going, oh, I can't do that, I'm never going to be able to do that. And it's a really good habit to get them into the habit of saying, well, just put yet on the end, because then you're not telling yourself you're never going to be able to do that. You're just saying maybe you can't at the moment. But also to try and get them to then question, is that really helpful to have that sort of negative speech pattern? Can you come up with a better way of wording it? So that was one of the ones I sort of quite like the one of sort of bringing awareness to what you're saying to yourself or what other people are saying, especially if you've got children or people who are just sort of down on themselves, is to maybe give them some of these tips and say, look, you're always saying you can't do stuff. How about just putting yet? Because it's not a big thing. You're not saying totally change the way you talk. You're just saying maybe just put yet on the end of that to help. And one of the ones I've really liked recently, because I do procrastinate quite a lot. Hi Nikki, hi Rebecca. This is one I picked. I don't know where I got it from. I've tried to find where I got it from, but I thought this was really good, which is this: I prioritise an activity over doing a different activity. So for me, stuff like when I'm sitting in front of the TV and I'm going in my mind, I'm going, oh, I really should be doing that, or I should be doing the other thing, is to actually check with myself, how am I feeling? So you could say something like, I prioritise watching this TV programme with my husband. I could joggle as well, Sarah. We're very good at joggling. I prioritise watching TV over writing my blog. Now, there's nothing to say, I'm allowed to prioritise watching TV with my husband over writing my blog, but am I doing it because I'm procrastinating and I'm happy with that decision, or am I not happy? So it's a really good reality check, and I really like that one, because then you're doing the thing with a positivity rather than beating yourself with all those shoulds, have tos, oh, I should be doing something else. So I really like that one. So I prioritise watching TV with my husband and having a nice evening over the fact that maybe I should be making the bed or writing my blog or doing something else. But that then means I'm checking, is that what I want to do? And if I'm sitting watching the TV by myself because I'm tired, do I actually want to watch the TV? Or do I want to be writing my blog? And that then becomes more of a positive. I feel it becomes a bit more of a positive thing. So I can sit there and watch TV and be happy about it. or I can stop and I can go and write my blog, but it's a more empowering way of doing it. So that's one I really like that somebody said recently, which really works for me. It might not work for you, but I really like that one. So just being aware, I prioritise this time, this activity over doing something else. So I think those were all the only other one that I really liked, which comes out, if anybody knows about the choices method in emotional freedom technique, so EFT, is one of the things that Mum and I did. Oh, hi Mum. One of the things Mum and I did when we were at Center Parcs last week, other than the crazy musical thing. So go and check that out on my previous live, because it was, well, not previous live, the video I did instead of doing the live last week. Go and check that out because it's very worth watching. Is one of the things you can do when you're doing EFT, they have certain setup phrases. So you say something like, even though, so a really good example, even though I can't jog at the moment, or you could even say, even though I don't feel good enough at jogging yet, I choose to recognise that my body does actually know how to run. So again, it's this sort of thing of, even though I might not be able to do something at the moment, or even if I'm struggling with something at the moment, I choose to recognise that I'm unique and I'll get there, or I choose to acknowledge that I'm okay with that, or I'm choose to just keep working at it. And again, it's putting it in a positive way. And it's just something you do if you've ever done EFT, and I might post a link to just showing you, because EFT is a really powerful thing that I found recently working with some of the things I do. And just the setup phrases they use when you're doing the tapping, there's certain points you tap around your body. But I like the wording they have for it, that sort of, even though I'm not good enough yet, I choose to recognise my unique self. Or even though I don't feel like I'm a born runner, I choose to have a go anyway because my body knows how to run. So that's sort of positive. So that was just another one that I came up with, because I really like the way the EFT sets up the wording that you use when you're then doing the tapping. So I just thought I'd share some of those. So there's the yet. If you hear somebody do negative speak, just get them into the habit of putting yet at the end. It's not a big deal. It's quite an easy one to do. I prioritise the activity I'm doing at the moment over the one I should be doing. Don't put shoulds in though, they're not good. But just a really good reality check. Is that something you want to be doing, or actually is that pointing you in the direction that you really would like to be writing your blog, and that just gives you a bit more impetus to go and do that. And then the sort of making sure that you talk sort of in a more positive way. Don't use don'ts very often, especially if you're talking to kids. Get them into the habit of saying, I'm going to keep myself safe, I know how to climb a tree, I know my own limitations, that sort of thing, rather than yelling at them to, like, don't do that, you're going to injure yourself, blah, blah, blah. Put positive things in, because if you close your eyes and you're told to not think of an elephant in Pick Tutu, you're going to see an elephant in a Pick Tutu. So I hope those have all been helpful. It's nice to be back on a live. I did miss doing it last week, even though we did our crazy musical thing. Go and check that out. It's worth watching because it is very amusing. So take care, everybody. Bye.